Hi, everybody, and welcome back. My name's Melissa, and this year I'm sharing 365 tips for frugal living. So, today's tip is to know when it's time to call a professional. So, I was recently diagnosed with Raynaud's. I already have terrible fine motor skills, just not really great dexterity in my fingers. So, while I will absolutely be determined and try and fix things, I do recognize that some things are out of my wheelhouse, and one of those things is plumbing. And the thing is that with plumbing, if you screw it up, it can be really, really expensive. Like, if I don't get the water valve all the way turned off, I mean, I know a lot of these steps, but since I don't have that ability to get my fingers to always do it, I could potentially think that it's all the way off, but have not turned it tight enough, and then I flood my house and cause even more damage. So I bring this up because about a week ago, my hot water heater broke. It broke. It's Monday, and it broke a week ago. Sunday, I guess. Or no, it was a week ago. It was exactly a week ago. It was Monday. So Saturday, I had a pipe burst outside. They had to turn off my water. They turned it back on Sunday. I did the dishes, had hot water. I showered and washed my hair, had hot water. My kids showered, had hot water. I started laundry, had hot water. And then halfway through laundry, so it was today. Halfway through laundry, it just stopped. So I was like, well, what's going on? So next day's Monday. I go out there and I'm like, okay, well, let's see what I can do. I look at it and I'm like, okay, let's try I am a child of the 80s and 90s. So I did what we all learned to do. Turn it off and back on again, because that's what you do to fix electronic things. Just turn it off and turn it back on and it'll work. And it did. I was super excited. I was like, oh, okay, so it just needed to be reset or whatever. So I turned the hot water heater back on and it worked, and I did the dishes and everything was great. So then that night I went to shower and I had no hot water again. So I was like, crap, what do I do now? So I tried the same method then on Tuesday. It didn't work. I was like, okay, let's research. And I looked, and according to everything, I didn't have an air code, and it said that I was going to have to detach the water source and then plug it back in. And it's like super tiny. It's under this cabinet here, and you have to like crawl under. It's like kind of behind where the stove is. Like it's in this corner over there. So I would have had to be in a really awkward position to get at it. And again, bad fine motor skills to begin with, and now I have Raynaud's, so even worse fine motor skills. So I knew I had to call a plumber. But the thing is that I discovered this on Tuesday, and my neighborhood had announced Tuesday that they were turning off the water Wednesday and Thursday, or Wednesday. So I was like, okay, I'll wait. And I was going to call Wednesday when the water went back on, but then they said, oh, well, we're going to turn it off again tomorrow. Sorry, I spilled tea down my leg. So they said, we're going to turn it off again tomorrow. So I was like, okay, well, Thursday I can't have the plumber come out. I mean, they can't very well check a hot water heater if there's no water to the entire neighborhood. So then Thursday it went back on. I forgot to call, so I called Friday. They came out today. So no hot water Friday, no hot water Saturday, no hot water Sunday. I woke up this morning, went to the bathroom, no hot water still when I went to wash my hands. So the plumber came to check and see what was going on. So the first thing they do is they turn on the hot water to see, does it have water coming out of the faucet? Because sometimes if there's like an issue with the heat, it doesn't even like come out. It's just like nothing on the hot water end. And then the fan kicked on. The fan had not been kicking on for a week. Then the heat kicked on. Now, it was like almost 60 degrees today. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. I don't know if maybe there was like some little piece of ice in there somewhere and it finally came undone. I don't know if it's going to be broken again tomorrow because it's supposed to be like 30. But he turned it on and it worked. This morning at like 6 a.m., when I woke up in the middle of the night essentially to go to the bathroom, I had no hot water. This afternoon at like 2:30, the plumber comes out. Thank God he knows me. And they know me, and that way they aren't like, oh wow, this girl's so dumb she doesn't know you just have to turn the faucet to the left. And so he went outside to look, and he had Jonathan check something. That's my kid. And they could not find anything wrong with it. He turned it on, turned it off, turned it on, turned it off, turned it on, turned it off. Like, I don't know, 5-10 times, I guess, is what my kid told me. And he said, it appears to be fixed. It appears to be working. He's like, honestly, there's nothing that I can do to fix it at this point. I mean, I can turn it on and off 10 more times. It's still going to be the same thing. But the next time it breaks, call me right away. Because I had waited because, you can't very well check when it's off. So if it's not working tomorrow, I'm calling him again. But it worked. So, well, I did actually have a plumber come out and apparently didn't need to. I mean, maybe the tip should be double check before you have somebody come out that it's actually broken. But when I called on Friday, it didn't work. When I woke up this morning, it didn't work. When so for all intents and purposes, I did need a plumber, even though it ended up not being broken after all. That was just like some random luck. I mean, maybe you're a plumber watching this and are like, wow, this girl is like really dumb not to have tried it again. Maybe this is something that you've seen happen before. But the good news is I have hot water. I didn't flood my house. And I mean, that's the thing, is that if I had tried to fix it myself over the past week, instead of just like, oh my God, I was like boiling water and putting it in a bucket and then mixing it with cold water so that I could dump somewhat warm water over my body to wash myself. It was, oh my God, it was so horrible. Oh, I pulled out both camp showers. Neither of them worked. Well, the one probably would have, but I would have had to have something that I could hang 21 liters of water on and not have it break. And I live in a park model. I just did not trust anything to have it work. So today's tip is that sometimes you got to spend the money and call a professional. Because even though all the professional had to do was turn on the faucet to have it work, obviously something that even did eventually fix itself, if I had crawled under my sink and tried to do it myself, I could have injured myself. I could have hurt myself because of the way it's positioned, and I have some medical challenges. I could have flooded my house. I could have had a huge mess. So as much as I am for the DIY, do it yourself, figure it out, there are some instances that you're going to want to call a professional. So definitely try, but know when something is out of your wheelhouse and it's beyond you, don't DIY it. Things like plumbing, electrical. I mean, I'm really lucky. I have a really good plumber. If I need to do anything electrical, I just need to make sure that I need to do it during the summer because I can have my dad's a retired electrician. I can have him come and at least instruct me on what to do so I don't start an electric fire in my house. But don't just try and do something yourself if it's a major project that you can't really accomplish. Like paint, go for it, try it. Rewiring your house, if you're not a professional, if you do not have any electric experience, if you don't have a friend who's an electrician, then you're going to have to call a professional. Plumbing, some stuff, sure, you can do. Some stuff you can't. And honestly, if I had the fine motor, I probably would. I mean, I crawl under my house and do plumbing stuff. This is just out of my wheelhouse. It's a little bit too much for me. So today's frugal tip is to know when to call a professional, because sometimes it's worth paying a professional a little bit of money, or even what feels like a lot of money, to fix the initial problem, rather than creating an additional problem and an additional expense and still having to call that professional to fix it. So know when to call a professional is today's tip for frugal living. Anyways, again, my name's Melissa, and this year I'm sharing 365 tips for frugal living. If you want to hear more, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.